Woohoo! Hey, good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. I so do appreciate you tuning in. Wow. Today is the last show, my last show. I've got to open with this. Hey, I love you guys. This was a very tough decision for me. I will be continuing a career in journalism. You will find out more. You can always find me on Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find. I have a public page, and you can check out my new work. I can't tell you where exactly I'm going as of right now, but I will tell you that I am continuing a career in journalism, and I'm very excited. Uh, we're gonna do a lot of great work. I'm gonna do a lot of great work. I'm gonna try to expose what's going on here in the state of Illinois and just everywhere. I'm very excited. To make a difference. This show what this show was meant to be, it was meant to be a place where like-minded people can just sit and have a cup of coffee and talk about how loony the left is and, try not to do a spit take while talking about the left. Uh, the conversation that everyone wants to have, but nobody's gonna do it. Okay, the left, they're absolutely bananas, and nobody wants to talk about that. And every day I pulled stories that even leftists, like, if you were a rational thinking person, you would find these stories to be appalling or crazy. And, the left just outdoes themselves every single day, and the news is just constant. But I am so grateful for my many listeners and subscribers. You can subscribe on YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to continue the YouTube channel. I haven't really decided yet. To be honest, I'm just going to try to focus on family and this new job I'm very excited for. And I don't know if I'm going to continue like a YouTube channel or anything like that, but we'll see. Maybe later down the road. But I'm very, very grateful for my many listeners and followers and you guys helping me grow. I'm going to miss you all. We are making some changes. Tomorrow, Hugh Hewitt will be replacing my show. Hugh Hewitt is a live morning show, and he's in 450 different markets or something like that. He has 450 affiliates, and he is a conservative. He had Donald Trump on, and he did an explosive interview. I listened to the entire interview before making the decision to put in Hugh. And then at 7:19 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday, Tom Davis will be on, and he will take over Tom's 10. It's going to be called Tom's 10. Tom Davis, he is a local news guru, and he will get you your news quick, and that is going to be a hyper local segment. So I am grateful. I've spent a lot of time behind this board. You can see me in studio if you haven't yet. Right? If you're listening to the radio, you can head to the YouTube stream. But I've spent a lot of time right here behind this board, and I've spent a lot of time out talking with you, the listener, at all kinds of different events. Seats for Soldiers is there; it's still going to happen, and I'm excited for the new lineup as well on Cities. It's sad, but I'm so excited for Cities 92.9 because what we've got going on here, nobody else has got. And Tom Davis's segment every morning is going to be a blessing to you, believe me. So happy Valentine's Day. As you guys know, I end my show at about 9 o'clock, and I uh, end the show the same way every single day. I say, bye bye, I love you. That I mean, I do really love you. You guys are all God's children, brothers and sisters, and you guys have all really helped me grow in my career, and I couldn't be more grateful. I want to thank Scott Robbins, who will be joining me a little bit later in the show, so you guys will want to stay tuned for that. And also David Paul Blumenshine. They were my mentors in conservative news talk. So if you have questions about the lineup, you can always text me 309-451-9299, and I can shoot you over answers to your questions about the lineup here on Cities 92.9. We changed some things over the weekend due to this change that was coming. And we changed some things for our weekday lineup. So all of that will be posted um, by the end of the Glenn Beck show, the Glenn Beck program. So if you're just dying to know what the lineup is, you can check in at about 11 o'clock, and that website, cities929.com, will be updated with our complete lineup. And it's going to stay that way for a little while anyway. But yes, so we've been kind of, throwing things around on the weekend, and you're like, Kat, I don't know. What's the programming? What's going on?" Yes, well, I am leaving, so that's why we've been kind of changing some things up. But I am so grateful to you, the listener, and we have so much to talk about today in the 6 o'clock hour. And then in the 7 o'clock hour, we've got a couple of guests that I'm going to have on. And special guest Scott Robbins will be joining me at about 7:30. So we will be chatting about news here in the 6 o'clock hour. So here we go. You live in California. If you lived in California, and some of you do, some of you who watch the stream, you guys are listening from California. We've got a couple of listeners in California. Guess what? If you live there, your credit card is going to start tracking your firearm purchases. And I won't be shocked if Illinois comes up with some sort of bill or some sort of law that does the same thing here. Okay. The credit card, your credit card is going to start tracking you if you make firearm purchases in the state of California. So next, I want to expose this secret provision. I talked about it a bit yesterday with Mike Coolidge, but there was a secret provision in this Ukraine funding bill, and I want to talk more about that because it was really like a poison pill uh, in this Ukraine funding bill, and I was shocked to find out. I found it so funny. Josh Hawley, he was the only senator that really is. He's really the only senator worth a damn, but he was the only senator passed in the U.S. Senate that really spoke out against his colleagues who voted for this thing. Who are his colleagues? I know there were 4 Republicans who voted for this thing. I can only remember 3. I'm going to have to look up that 4th one again, but I know it was Senator John Kennedy, which I was kind of shocked about. And a listener actually texted me and said, "Hey, Kat, too bad Kennedy doesn't vote with us." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't really even know his voting record, but I heard it hasn't been great." But I did not know he would vote for something like this. That was Senator John Kennedy. And he's the Louisiana senator that has that Southern draw, and I really like when he gets out there and exposes the wokies. But that's all he's good at. He's just good at grandstanding, right? And making viral clips and good commercials. That's all he's good at because his voting record sucks. That's John Kennedy, and then Mitt Romney, Mittens, and then we have uh, Mitch McConnell, the turtle. So those are the 3, and I found it interesting. I have to figure out the 4th one. I'm gonna expose his name too, but those 3 senators, I looked this up. I mean, they were in their 70s and 80s. They don't care if they pass a bill that where we do unlimited funding for Ukraine. They're gonna be dead, like, in a few years, like, statistically, I know, they're, like, well into their 80s or 70s, and, I hate to say that, but they don't care if these funding bills get passed. 1, they're getting rich off of it. 2, they don't really care about the generations to come after them. They don't have to live with it. Uh, and really, I don't think that they don't really give a darn about people like me. Senator Josh Hawley, he's this new, vibrant U.S. senator. He's young, and he's saying, "Look, this is not good to raise the national debt. This is going to affect our grandchildren, our generations to come, even after me. It's going to affect me in my lifetime. It's not going to affect, of course, John Kennedy and Mitch McConnell. They're old as dirt, right? Not to be offensive, but they need to get out of there. They really do, and I'm all about term limits. These guys have whittled their way into that Senate. Dick Durbin, right? And they've they're what? Well into their 80s, and they have just done years and years and years worth of damage, and they need to go. They need to go. So, we're gonna expose that secret provision in the Ukraine funding bill. Plus, I came across this story and I was like, "Do I wanna talk about it?" Yes. These progressive cultists, they're now upset that the earth is too green. Yes, quite literally. They say, "Hey, the earth being green often causes dire consequences." So this is a weirdo, progressive climate cultist story where they don't like vegetation, they don't like plants. So we're going to be chatting about that. I do have to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'm pretty sure that the Constitution is pretty flippin' clear about the Second Amendment. It says shall not be infringed. You can't get any clearer than that. But officials in California, they don't care about that. And they're still trying to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. And they've exhausted all options, all of it, all options. And ironically, the credit card companies, they have jumped in to save the day for these California officials because they have tried everything they can to ban guns. The state of Illinois, they probably, this is their next move, if they haven't done it already. I mean, there probably is a bill out there like this in Illinois. I just haven't been able to find it. Who knows? But major credit card companies like American Express, Visa, and MasterCard, they're going to be tracking gun store purchases in California. So, California credit card, these credit card companies, they are jumping in to save the day for California because they can't cook up any more Second Amendment infringement laws. So, we're going to be back here next on the Buzz discussing it. Find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. I so do appreciate it. Gonna miss you. Yes, I'm gonna miss you guys too. This was a really tough decision. I really do appreciate your listenership, and I'm glad that we did it this way. Typically in radio, so I'm peeling back the curtain a little bit. Typically in radio, you never want to draw attention to a program change, but we decided to. Um, draw attention to the program change. Usually, you just kind of change the program and then deal with the listeners and deal with the listeners asking questions, and then you field questions after the changes. Um, you do it like quickly and quietly, but we wanted to inform you and to give you um, an idea of what you're going to hear on Thursday. So it's going to be Hugh Hewitt and Tom's 10 if you're a radio listener. But if you're just on the stream, you can look forward. Maybe I'll change up my YouTube channel a little bit. Maybe do a little segment every day or something like that. Um, but I don't know. I'll have to see because I really want to focus on my family. Me being a conservative, right? I I family faith first, and this is just a job that fits my lifestyle, and I love this job. I do, and it was really tough decision. This was just a great opportunity that fell in my lap. So, um, is there really a thing as being too green? Yes, Ryan, there is. So the leftists, these progressive climate cultists, and let's be clear, they are not a climate they're not a climate advocacy group. They're not it's not about the planet. Really, it's about their hatred for humans. Um, Without plants, humanity would cease to exist. And we breathe out carbon. Okay. I mean, it's very symbiotic relationship we've got with plants. We breathe out carbon, aka plant food, and then the plants produce oxygen that we need. That's the byproduct of photosynthesis. We all took like sixth grade science, right? Um, this is a climate cult. This climate cult is not even about the climate. It has nothing to do with the climate. It's an anti-human cult, and every problem is due to humans, and every solution is anti-human. That's what it really comes down to. And I've got this story out of Vox. You know, I like to check in with Vox every once in a while, and they talk about how there's a lot of green vegetation going on nowadays. There's like Just a lot of vegetation. A lot of people say, "Oh, there's deforestation and things like that," but the opposite is happening. There's actually more green spaces today, not less. Even parts of the blue on Earth. So if you look at the globe, there's some blue, there's some green. Even parts of the blue are becoming more and more green. So there's like more plants, more vegetation than ever right now. And this is what they're calling a global greening phenomenon. It's incredible. If the carbon, these folks, they say, oh, carbon, um, it's increasing, it's increasing. The earth is so beautiful. And I can't get enough of it. I love going outside and running and watching or looking at all the trees and looking at God's creation. He has created everything to where it will just work. So if there's an increase in carbon, which, yeah, let's say that there's been an increase in carbon, we've increased our carbon footprint, as humans because of, oil factories, whatever, insert whatever here that produces carbon emissions. You can say that carbon emissions are up, fine. What happens is the world just kind of works and the plants, they take in all that carbon and it's so good for them that they just start producing more and more and more vegetation because they have all this excess carbon and they are able to, breed, like plants breed and they multiply. And we've been able to get more vegetation. So the earth is already combating carbon emissions without all of this, hey, go vegetarian crap, you know, um, don't eat meat and all these different answers for EVs, solar, switching to wind, solar, all that. Without all that, the earth is already working to combat carbon emissions. Just biology is working to protect us. That's it's a God's design, at work, and he's a perfect God. So, he made really an imperfect world because of sin, right? We've got sin, but, it really just all works together. But now they're saying that these climate cultists, they're saying that vegetation is actually bad for the planet, but the only reason why they say it's bad for the planet it's not they even acknowledge that, plants gobble up CO2. They even acknowledge that it is helpful when it comes to climate change, these plants being there. Um, they have even said that, right? But then they turn around and in the same breath, they say that it's bad and it's because humans caused it. Okay, that we're the reason why the green vegetation is uh has increased so much, so therefore it's bad. So the whole argument is based on a premise that something is bad because humans caused it. Um, so we're going to chat about that, the climate cultists, but we're going to be right back. We've got lots to talk about. So smash that like button if you're watching. Share this out with your friends, and we'll be back talking about how California is infringing on your Second Amendment. Woohoo! Happy Valentine's Day. I so do appreciate you tuning in each and every morning. And today is the last morning I will be doing the show. And I so do appreciate you tuning in and helping me grow in the last couple of years on the radio. I will be continuing a career in journalism. And this was a hard decision, but I I love you guys, and we're going to have some fun today. So, first, I want to talk about Tasty Bingo. This is a little housekeeping thing, but Tasty Bingo, classic bingo is fun and all, and I get it. But wait until you play Cities 92.9's Tasty Bingo. Now, we've teamed up with a bunch of your favorite local restaurants for Tasty Bingo. It's easy to play, and there's no gathering with a group. There's nothing like gathering with a group of people on a night and sitting down for a meal at one of these amazing restaurants. So get a bingo, and you can score $60 in gift cards to local restaurants. Okay, so you can you can score up to $60 in gift cards to local restaurants um, if you get a bingo. So here's how it works. You dine in or carry out, you can do carry out as well, at the restaurant of your choice, on the Tasty Bingo card until you get a bingo, which is 4 in a row horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. You must spend a minimum of $15 before tax and tip from each restaurant square in your bingo. So you have to go to these restaurants and you have to spend at least $15 before tax and tip at these restaurants in order to get a square filled in for your bingo card. You can have multiple receipts from a restaurant uh, to reach a $15 threshold. You turn in your receipts with your bingo card to Great Plains Media, our office here at 108 Boykins Place in Normal, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you get to, yeah, you can download a printable bingo card at our website. It's real simple. That is cities929.com. Right there, you can click and print a tasty bingo card. We've got uh, Joe's Station House, we've got Cheeks, we've got Annie's Eats, we've got Dr. McKay's Egg Republic, Jack's Cafe, we've got Fiesta Ranchera, Gill Street, uh, Jimmy John's, Pizzeria Roma. We've got all kinds of restaurants that are participating. So you can read more about the rules, how it kind of works. You just go to these restaurants, spend some money, and you can fill that bingo card up. And once you get 4 in a row, then you can get or you can score $60 in gift cards to these local restaurants. So head on over to cities929.com. Okay, we have got to get into the nitty gritty of this story, and I'm excited because California, they are infringing on your Second Amendment, and I am excited to expose this. So, from the Washington Examiner, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, they're reportedly preparing to equip California firearms and ammunition retailers with a merchant code that would track gun purchases. This comes as a new state law allowing banks to monitor suspicious weapon purchases is set to go in effect in 2025. So they're called merchant category codes, MCCs, merchant category codes, and they're four-digit numbers given to the retailers that allow the credit card companies to track and gather information on a card holder's purchase. Yes. So last year, the major credit card companies they paused their work on applying MCCs, these merchant category codes, after being met with opposition from Second Amendment advocates, gun groups from a variety of states. Okay, so they've already tried this, but they were met with opposition. Now they've enshrined it in law. Okay, so Republicans, they praised the prominent credit card company's decision to halt this MCC implementation. So it's like merchant credit card or or merchant category codes, merchant category MCCs. Uh, and they were happy that they stopped this, okay, because they were met with opposition, legal opposition. Meanwhile, proponents such as Guns Down America and Senator Elizabeth Warren, the Cherokee woman, these anti gun groups and Senator Warren say that using MCCs to track firearm purchases will help prevent gun violence. So, see what they're doing here? They're saying, oh, we need to track your purchases, firearm purchases, because we're going to prevent gun violence. We all know that this is going to do nothing to prevent gun violence. The majority of gun crime is committed by people who obtain a weapon illegally. So they're not going in there to a gun store and they're buying it with their credit card, okay, or with their card. It's just not happening that way. The fact is so undeniably true that most gun crime, they're getting the gun illegally. That is so true that even Politico has fact checked it and has said that that is mostly true. So when Australia banned guns, we have evidence that this does not work. Okay. When you start tracking firearm purchases or banning guns, it doesn't work. So Australia, they banned guns, and there was a study, and it concluded that there was no effect on the gun homicide rate. Absolutely no effect. on the gun homicide rate there in Australia. In Washington, D.C., when they banned guns in 1976, the number of homicides actually rose from 188 in 1976 to 364 in 1988, and then up to 454 in 1993. The Supreme Court struck that ban down, and guess what? The gun homicide rate actually declined down to 88 in 2012. So we actually have evidence that uh, rolling back bans and rolling back these regulations when it comes to owning firearms, that is actually better for gun homicide rates. The Supreme Court, like I said, they struck that down, and the gun homicide rate declined. Defensive gun use is also 4 to 5 times more common than gun crimes. Did you know that? Guns are used for good things. Way more often, 4 to 5 times more common than gun crimes. There's countless amount of evidence that suggests guns do no good or do more good than they do harm, okay? They do way more good than they do harm, but officials in California, they hate that, and it appears that their goal is to set the entire state on fire, because if the goal is to end gun violence, they would be, decriminalizing crime. They would stop decriminalizing crime because they would, hey, look, they're letting thugs run around wild. They're letting them run around wild, and they are fueling lawlessness, and they work hard each year to get more law-abiding citizens disarmed. Okay, instead of decriminalizing crime, they're fueling lawlessness, and they are working hard to go after law-abiding citizens and disarm them. The only difference now is that they have major credit card companies doing their dirty work for them. Because they've exhausted all their avenues when it comes to taking guns. So here we go. CBS report. The credit card companies said that the MCC, this is the Merchant Category Code, which was approved by the International Organization of Standardization in 2022, would not reveal information about the customer who's purchasing the gun or the individual items purchased, but it would provide information about where the weapons were purchased. So the goal of all of this is just to get less people armed, less good people armed, and it's to scare people into not buying firearms anymore. Even if people, are engaging in their constitutionally protected rights and they know that they have a right to bear arms, they have a Second Amendment right. People don't like to hear the word track and purchases in the same sentence. So, um, it wouldn't change any because I know my rights, I know my constitutionally protected rights. It wouldn't change anything for me. I'd still go out and purchase a firearm, right? But I'd just use Discover because I've heard that they have great customer service, right? So you can get around it, pay for it in cash, pay for it with a Discover card. All right, I do have to take a quick break. You're listening to the Morning Buzz on Cities 92.9. I'll be right back. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. So, according to the National Retail Federation, consumers, they're about ready to spend $25.8 billion dollars on Valentine's Day this year. That's an average of $185 per person. Wow. Are you going to spend $185 today? I sure hope not. I don't know. I love Valentine's Day, but it's just another day to me, and it's just another day. 53% of consumers say they plan to celebrate Valentine's Day. Um, and just how are they celebrating? Well, it kind of varies depending on generations. So, millennials, they love gifts. That doesn't surprise me. They're the most likely to give gifts and to receive gifts. That's 44%. Of how, people of, this 53% of consumers that celebrate Valentine's Day. Of that 53%, 44% of them are um, millennials. Now, boomers are the most likely to decorate their homes. That's 20%. Yeah, my mom's a boomer and she would decorate the house with the Valentine's Day stuff and the red lights and everything. And Gen Z, they're most likely to go out for drinks. Yeah, that would make I I'm Gen Z. I really like going out for drinks, maybe dinner or something like that. And 29% of those 29% of people say they're not celebrating, but still plan to mark the occasion. So there's 53% of consumers that actually celebrate Valentine's Day, and 29% of those they say, yeah, well, we're not going to celebrate, but we are going to mark the occasion. And how do they do this? Well, they treat themselves to something special. They plan a get together or a night out with family members or single friends, and they buy themselves buying themselves anti Valentine's Day gifts. Well, that's just kind of sad. Don't buy yourself an anti Valentine's Day gift, or uh, just just enjoy the day. The top gifts people give: candy. I'm not much of a candy person. I do like Reese's peanut butter cups. Ooh, I love peanut butter. Um, Greeting cards, flowers, a night out, and jewelry. I'm glad balloons are not on the list. I am not a big fan of balloons. Uh, I don't like the way that they smell. I don't like the way that they kind of like after a day, they kind of get very droopy. Not a fan of that. And they just kind of freak me out. I love hot air balloons. Don't get me wrong. Been up in a hot air balloon. That's a lot of fun. But the balloons that you get from the store, hate those. Don't like the texture, I don't like the way they look, and, like, what do you do with a balloon? They're just kinda pesky, right? It's like, "Where am I gonna put this?" And in a day, it's gonna deflate. It's like you spent all this money on a balloon because they're actually pretty expensive, balloons are, and, you're like, "Wait a minute, why'd you spend this much money? I'm gonna wind up throwing it away in, like, one day." So before we took the break, I was telling you guys a little bit about this story. I want to get to it today. This poison pill that's in this bill. So the Democrat-controlled Senate approved a $95 billion National Security Act. This is a bill with a clause to target Trump. Okay, there's a clause in this bill, and today's show is going to break that down. The bill includes a measure that would prevent Trump from pausing funds for Ukraine if he becomes president again. Now that's according to Politico. People are saying that, oh, JD Vance, he's a conspiracy theorist. No, there's an actual clause in there that would prevent Trump from pausing funds to Ukraine. This solidifies permanent funding to Ukraine through 2025. Okay. And nobody can interfere with that funding. That's essentially what this bill is. It's called the National Security Act. Okay. So JD Vance's office, they say that the clause represents an attempt by a foreign policy deep state, a blob deep state, to stop President Donald Trump from pursuing his desired policy. And if he does so anyways, it provides grounds for him to be impeached and for them to undermine his administration. All Republicans should oppose its passage. Now, like I said, 4 Republicans voted for it. We've got Senator John Kennedy, Mitt Romney, Mittens, and then we also had Mitch McConnell. And there was another one, but I'll find out who that other one is. But uh, if the overseas aid does become law and Trump wins the election, Vance's new memo argues that the incoming president could be impeached again if he were to withdraw from or pause financial support for the war in Ukraine in order to bring the conflict to a peaceful conclusion. Now, Trump has already been impeached for this. Okay, he's already been impeached for this. He was impeached over allegations he improperly sought help from Ukraine to boost his chances for re-election. Um, so they are impeaching him again. It was the same thing. He was impeached because he was withholding aid from Ukraine or something like that. So they're setting him up for failure because they want to remove him from office. Um, and they are really scared that Donald Trump is going to be the nominee, and they're really scared that he's going to win this election. They're trying to put in every contingency plan in place to prevent him from being the nominee, and they want to handicap him while he's in office. Okay, they want to prevent him from really breaking peace deals. Okay, and Trump previously called Zelensky the greatest salesman in history. Quote, Trump said, "We got to get the war settled, and I'll get it settled." Trump made it clear that he disapproves sending more aid overseas, and Democrats have made it clear that they greatly fear a second Trump term. The reason they hate Donald Trump is the same reason they hate you. It's because he's the only person who runs the risk of stopping the Ukraine train for these folks. Okay, the Ukraine train, the just train of money. They're like Raytheon, you've got Boeing, Honeywell, you've got the military industrial complex. And they are at risk they've been lining their pockets. These Congress critters, these senators, the John Kennedys, the Mittens Romney, and then you've got Mitch McConnell, all these Republicans and Democrats, Dick Durbin, they've been lining their pockets. And the reason they hate Donald Trump is the same reason they hate you. It's because he's the only person, um, he's willing to say, "Hey, no, I don't want to spend in Ukraine." And you, the listener, we, the people, we also feel, I think it was like 86% of people don't want to spend money on Ukraine anymore or something crazy like that. There is a lot of people who don't want to spend money on Ukraine. You can't get that many people to agree on anything. Okay. And yeah, a shame on these four Republicans who voted for this. Now, coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, I have a special guest. His name is Josh Lloyd, and Josh Lloyd is running for U.S. Congress. He's a veteran, and he's running in the 13th Congressional District. I wanted to have him on today because I wanted to ask him, he's a young guy and he's running for this congressional race or in this congressional race. And, I was watching Josh Hawley and he was a huge dissenter of this. And he called on his colleagues to stop voting for this. J.D. Vance, another one of those younger Congress guys, Matt Gaetz. And I'm thinking to myself, man, all these old farts, they keep voting to send this money to Ukraine. And I don't think they really give a damn. One, they're getting rich. They're getting that gravy train, right? The military industrial complex is just lining their pockets. But they don't have to live with the consequences of their voting. And I'm all for term limits. I want to see more young faces like Josh's in Congress. So we're going to talk with him in the 7 o'clock hour. You're listening to the Morning Buzz on Cities 92.9. Hey, give me a text if you've gotten one of these brochures, and if you could send me a picture, that'd be great. I guess it's a brochure. It's about the Obama Center. It's supposed to be coming to Illinois, I believe, but there were these brochures sent out to people, and there's a picture of the building on it. And I just had a listener tell me that it looks not very American. It looks like an Arabic building, and there's Arabic writing on it. And I'm just kind of curious what the brochure looks like. If you guys have gotten that brochure, and if you got it around, send me a quick pic. It's 309 Now, before we took break, we were talking a little bit about this bill, and I want to bring this on in the 7 o'clock hour, and I want to talk with Justin Lloyd, or I want to talk with Josh Lloyd about this specific bill because we had some Republicans vote for it. And I want to ask him, what he thinks about term limits and what he thinks about this uh, unfortunate. Unfortunately, this bill passed the Senate. I hope it dies in the House. I'm pretty sure it's going to. But the Democrat controlled Senate, they approved this $95 billion national security bill with a clause in there to target Trump. They want to target Trump. They want to make it to where he can not go, where he's not going to be able to go in there and um, resolve this conflict over in Ukraine with a peaceful uh, solution, and he can't withdraw from or pause financial support to Ukraine through 2025. So they are going to be undermining his presidency. So we're going to chat about that. And plus, I do want to talk about this. There is a group, I call them the climate cultists. They're now upset that the earth is too green. Yes, these people are weird. They say that, hey, this increase in vegetation that our planet is experiencing is actually a bad thing. You're gonna lose your marbles once you hear about it. Happy Valentine's Day. Today is Valentine's Day. According to Capital One, did you guys hear this? Their shopping research data shows that Americans are expected to spend $2.14 billion on Valentine's Day, on this Valentine's Day, not on people, but on their pets. So 20% of pet owners, they get something special for their furry friend, from toys to clothes, to treats, anything like that. So, yeah, you spend a lot of money on your pets for Valentine's Day. I do have to take a quick break. You're listening to the Morning Buzz on Cities 92.9. I'll be back at the top of the hour. Joining me, Josh Lloyd for Congress. He's running in the 13th Congressional District. I'm back next. Good morning. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in each and every day. We are going to hopefully get to Joshua Lloyd here. He's going to be joining me here in the 7 o'clock hour. And we're going to be talking a bit about this bill. I want to talk about the national security bill. I want to talk about a few things happening at the federal level. I want to talk about his experience as well. He's a veteran. And I was just reading a little bit at his webpage. It's lloydforcongress.com. You can find out where he stands on the issues and a little bit about Josh Lloyd. He was born and raised in Illinois. And he lives by the West Point grade, which I think he graduated from West Point. We're going to find out. Uh, Never lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. And I love what he says on his webpage. Joshua Lloyd, early on in life, vowed that he will never again, or never, or he will, uh, okay. Early on in life, Joshua Lloyd vowed that if he were to ever gain a position of influence, he would not succumb to the immoral, corrupt um, nature or corrupt influence of modern politics. Okay. So he wasn't going to cave into the corruption. So I think that this is interesting. I want to talk with him about the bill. I also want to chat with you about these green climate cultists. And then in just a little bit, we're going to be talking with Scott Robbins. Scott Robbins is a special guest this morning. Today is my last show. I'm going to miss you guys terribly as well. I'm so sad. This morning, we also talked about California. They're having the credit card companies come in and fight their battles for them, which I just find hilarious. They've exhausted every avenue to try to steal guns, but now they're having the credit card companies track your purchases if you buy firearms. Not Discover though, not Discover. So, and I've heard they have great customer service. So, um, even though we all understand our constitutionally protected rights, we know that we have a right to a Second Amendment. Still, hearing the words track and purchases in the same sentence kind of freaks you out a little bit. Me too. But hey, if you're watching, smash that like button, share this out with your friends. And we are going to be back talking with Josh Lloyd. I do appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. This is awesome. I'm gonna miss you terribly, and this was a tough thing to do. So I'll be right back. Hey, it's the Morning Buzz on Cities 92.9, the last ever Morning Buzz show in Cities 92.9 um, history. This is going to be, this is really sad. It's tough, but coming up in a little bit, we're going to be talking with Scott Robbins. He's a special guest today. So I'm really excited about that. For some background, I started here at Great Plains Media, Cities 92.9, as a producer for Scott Robbins. Eventually got promoted up to program director, where I kind of work the buttons behind the scenes and program and have some decisions when it comes to the show lineup here on the radio. And from there, I became a co-host, and then from there, I became a show host, a radio show host for the Morning Buzz. I will no longer be a radio show host for the Morning Buzz. As of tomorrow, we are going to be airing Hugh Hewitt. That is a new radio show. It's live. You guys are going to love it. And in the Hugh Hewitt show, there is a little. It's just like this little 10 minutes. It's Tom's 10, and it's going to be hyper local news. You can get your fix of news right there with Tom Davis, and he's going to keep you up to date. He is a natural news hound, and I'm excited to see where cities goes. And I'm so grateful for you and your listenership, and I do love you. And this was just something that the Lord led me to do, and sometimes the Lord leads you to do things where you're like, really, I have to leave. I have to. And he's like, yes, you have to leave. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave. But I love you. We do have a special guest on today. I think that this is going to work out. Joshua Lloyd. He's running for Congress. Josh, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, I sure can. I can hear you all right. Josh, he's running in the 13th Congressional District. So first, let's talk about you. Who are you? Why'd you get into the race? And tell me about your district. Where is the Illinois 13th?
Absolutely. And thanks for having me this morning. So, the
Yes.
Illinois 13th District starts all the way down in St. Clair County, down by Dupo. It runs all the way up to Springfield, then takes a very sharp turn towards Champaign, Urbana. So, the district
Amazing.
itself is about 200 miles long,
That's
only about
huge.
15 miles wide. So,
Wow.
it was really cut up.
Wowza. Yeah, that's a big district. And tell me, why'd you get into the race, Josh?
So, I originally got into the race because I was having issues with the VA. Uh, so I am out of the military for almost 2, 3 years at this point, and I'm still working on issues that the military even knew a year, 2 years before I even got out. So the issue of veterans not being treated properly is originally why I got in. But then the more you look at the government, the more you see deficiencies left and right. Uh, One story that I always tell people is how well, as company leadership, and a company is about 150 soldiers, I was in charge of boots, beans, and bullets, which means I was in charge of troops, feeding them, and supplying them with ammunition.
Okay. And so, all right, real quick, your thoughts here. I know that in the state of Illinois, now this is a state issue, but I wanted to get your thoughts here. And I know that we are divesting from veterans and even disabled people. Um, and we are taking that money and allocating it towards migrants who have flooded over the southern border there. So I wanted to get your thoughts there. In fact, I actually think there was a committee, I think it was out of New York, where she says, just point blank, she just says, veterans, they can speak English. These migrants, they can't. So this is why they need, you know, this welfare program. It was something that they implemented in New York, I believe. So your thoughts there? Oh,
I do
hello.
not believe in rewarding people for doing the wrong thing. If they are coming to our country illegally, unauthorized, and then they are being rewarded for it, what type of message is that sending to the rest of the world? If you break our laws, then you get rewarded for it. That's not something we should be doing. And in Chicago, you see Mayor Johnson saying this is no longer viable as a sanctuary city. You have all these progressive leadership saying, okay, maybe we were wrong about becoming sanctuary cities, providing all this funding. You have California who is taking money away from various programs just to house these migrants. It no longer works. And we are seeing the repercussions of that.
hmm Josh, I wanted to ask you about what I found on your website. Joshua Lloyd vowed that if he were to ever gain a position of influence, which you will if you're voted into the Illinois 13th there, um, he said you say on the website he would not succumb to the immoral, corrupt influence of modern politics. Now, uh, I want to talk about this national security bill and the funding to Ukraine. In there, there's this clause, and really what the clause does, it prevents Trump or any other president, if they were to, withdraw from or pause funding to Ukraine. Now, there were four Republicans who voted for it. I can't remember all their names. I know Josh Kennedy, Mitch McConnell, and Mitt Romney. They all voted for it. There was another guy in the Senate. And, I wanted to ask you, and all these guys, they're all well into their 70s and 80s. I don't know how old you are, but your thoughts on, these older men, yeah, and women, right? Older men and women in Congress and in the Senate. We've got Dick Durbin here, um, where they just I think they do things without consequence. They know that they're not gonna be around for, $95 billion of spending. That's what this bill was for. It was a $95 billion spending bill. I don't know. Yeah, I want to get your thoughts. Is that corruption? If you're there so long, what are your thoughts on term limits? Oh, hello. Oh, we lost him. That's okay. Hopefully, he'll join me again. Josh Lloyd. He I said on his website, I really did enjoy that, how he vowed to, never use his position of influence if he ever gained one. He would not succumb to the immoral, corrupt influence of modern politics, and that there is this modern politics where, you've got these guys, these old guys, John Kennedy, the Mitt Romneys, the, Dick Durbins, where they're in there and they're swiping their pen, they're voting yes on things that it's not gonna affect them. It's gonna affect my generation and younger generations like, Josh's generation, and then also JD Vance, Matt Gaetz. That's why these guys, these younger guys, Josh Hawley, he was the only senator, to get out there and to call on his colleagues to say, "Hey, stop this bill. Don't vote for this." Um, so, yeah, I think that these young guys in Congress, they're starting to see the writing on the wall, and they don't wanna live with the consequences of sending unlimited, Ukraine aid, over to these foreign countries. Uh, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're gonna wait and see if he gets back on, here in just in a bit. But I'll shift gears, and we'll talk a little bit about the green weenies, 'cause I know you love the green winnies. Now, humans have a symbiotic relationship with nature. It's kind of amazing. We breathe out carbon dioxide, and that's plant food. The plants just eat that up, they gobble that up, and then the plants produce oxygen, as a byproduct of photosynthesis. We all took 6th grade science class, okay? Now, without plants, humanity would cease to exist. Okay, so because of all of that, it's no surprise that Vox is extremely upset that the earth is actually getting greener. Yes, so there is a climate cult out there, and to its very core, it is not about the climate, it is about being anti-human. And this is just such a clear story that every problem is due to humans and every solution is anti-human. They are not about the climate, they are about being anti-human. They are anti-human. So we are going to get to that story. I think we've got Josh back on the line. Uh Here we go. Let's take a listen. Josh, you there? Hello? Nope. I don't think we've got him. That's okay. We'll try to get him on the line in the next segment here, and we'll give him a call. The stream yard isn't working, or the stream isn't working here. So, uh, let's get to the green weenie story. Okay. So, according to Vox, in the last 4 decades, the extent of green vegetation, i.e., the leaves in a given area, the plants in a given area, has substantially increased. So, greenery, the vegetation on Earth has substantially increased across the planet. This is according to a recent scientific studies, plural, based on satellite data. So, they're actually looking at the Earth. You know how it's blue and green, and you got the globe. It's getting more and more green. We've got more green spaces, not less today. This is called what they're calling it global greening. This is a phenomenon not just occurring on land, but there's also large portions of the oceans where they're getting greener too. There's just plants popping up here in on the earth. Our blue planet is increasingly getting more green. Understanding the Earth's color is key to understanding Earth and our future on it. So this is all according to Vox. Okay, greenness is often corresponds to the planet's ability to absorb carbon dioxide. Yeah, the primary greenhouse gas that drives climate change. Okay. Uh, the more leaves, the more photosynthesis, a chemical reaction that gobbles up CO2. That's good news in global greening. It's helping offset some impacts of climate change. But here we go. Here's what Vox says. Are you ready? But there's more to greening than meets the eye. The changing color isn't so much a sign that the forests and the other ecosystems are regrowing, but that humans are altering the environment on a truly planetary scale. often with dire consequences. Hmm. So they're saying it's the humans' fault. This is how asinine all this is. They agree that more greens, more photosynthesis, this is great. They also agree that this is a good thing. But they go even further and they claim that this offsets climate change, which is a good thing. And he's like, yes. I'm like, yes, this is offset. It's all great. And then in the same breath, you've got Vox saying that the reason why this is bad is because humans are causing it, which is illogical at best. At best. Their whole argument rests on the premise that something is bad if it's caused by humans. Now, it is caused by humans because God he has set up a planet that is absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm just blown away every single day by nature, and it's a design thing, right? There's more greenery, more vegetation. Maybe our carbon emissions have gone up, but guess what? The world works because we have a perfect creator and a perfect designer. And the way the biology works, it's the more carbon there is, that the plants just gobble that up and then they grow, they grow, they grow, they breathe, they breathe, they breathe. And there's more and more plants. Okay, so you can argue that this is caused by humans, but uh, they're saying that, yeah, global greening is good, but that little fact about humans causing it, it kind of sucks now. And we don't like it. So now it's bad because humans caused it. See, they're anti-human. Something is not bad just because humans may or may not have had a hand in it, okay? It's either a good thing or it's a bad thing in itself, okay? Global greening, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And global greening is a good thing for literally every single species on the planet, okay? I do have to take a quick break, but you're listening to the Morning Buzz. We're going to try to get Josh back, and we're going to interview Josh here next. You're listening to Cities 92.9. Good morning. Hey, if you're watching the stream, go ahead and smash that like button. Let's see if we can't get Josh here for the stream. Josh, how are you? Joshua Lloyd, he's running for Illinois Congressional District. I want to make sure that we can hear him.
Hi, Kat.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, tech difficulties. We've got it now. So before we got cut off there, I was asking you about term limits. Your thoughts there. What's going on with these guys, these Republicans, and what do you think about it? The Republicans who vote for things like the national security bill or for the border bill, where it pretty much enshrines in law that we've got the 1.8, I think it's million migrants every year coming over the border. Your thoughts?
I'm a huge advocate for term limits. You see these career politicians running 40 years in politics. They're bringing politics from all the way back in the day of the civil rights movement when there were various sides to it. Um, and I could get more into that with our current president, but that's a different topic. We need to have term limits, and we need to have people in there who are thinking of our future, not their careers.
Mm-hmm.
If you have term limits, politicians aren't thinking about their career in 20 years. They're thinking about the now and what our issues are currently. So with this national defense bill, you see a budget going to Ukraine that's more than the entire budget of the US Marine Corps. You see embezzlement from various government agencies in Ukraine. And whether that there's a kickback for our politicians, there's only so much that can be said, only so much that can be kind of stipulated there, but we don't know. We don't know until the facts come out.
Mm-hmm. I do also, we're going to come back for our radio friends here in a second, but I want to talk about your issues with the VA. You said that this was something that led you to this race, the Illinois Congressional 13th district. There, it's a large district. You're probably in it, folks. I think my congressman is Darren LaHood here in Normal, but I want to talk about, the issues that you faced with the VA for our friends on the air. But first, for just our streamers, can you tell us where we can find out more about you?
You can find more about me at lloydforcongress.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Lloyd for Congress.
Awesome. And one thing I really wanted to kind of point out on the web, I really like this. You said, "Hey, I have vowed that if I ever gain a position of influence, I'm not going to succumb to the immoral, corrupt influence of modern politics." What is that? What is the immoral, corrupt influence of modern politics? What are you talking about there?
If you ever want to find where corruption begins, follow the money. If you look at history, every big tragedy that's ever happened has started with money. Always look and follow the money to find where the corruption is.
Hmm.
One of the mottos of my alma mater, West Point, is never lie, cheat, steal, and one of the most important parts, tolerate those that do. Never tolerate those that do.
Hmm.
Call it out when you see it.
I love it. Well, Josh, we are going to be back. Just hang out 1 second for our radio friends. You're listening to Cities 92.9 The Stream. We're going to be right back. Woohoo! Good morning, folks. We've got Josh Lloyd back on the stream here. You guys can see us on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. Subscribe today. That's Cat Peterson 929. And Josh, thanks so much for joining me. You were talking about why you got into this race, the Illinois Congressional District. It's the 13th district there. It's a large district, includes Champaign-Urbana. You said that you got in because you had VA issues. Tell me more about that. What kind of issues did you have with the VA?
One of the biggest issues with the VA is just the time it takes to do anything. So, as I was mentioning earlier, I had been trying to file a claim 2 years before I got out of the military. And then I'm now 2, 3 years out of the military. So that's a total of about 4 to 5 years. And they're still trying to process some of these claims. And whether this is the same for every veteran, I can't tell you. But I can tell you that this is not uncommon. Various veterans uh, use veteran service organizations. These are organizations that their entire mission, they're volunteer organizations, is to navigate the VA system just because of how complex it is, how much bureaucracy, how much red tape there is. It just takes forever. And if you don't know the system, you're never going to do it yourself.
Mhm.
It's just almost impossible the way that it's currently set up.
So tell me about your service. You're a graduate of West Point?
Yes. So I actually enlisted first before I even went to West Point. So I served a few years enlisted time. I was 11 Bravo, which is an infantryman. Um, and for the most part, I did most of my service here in Illinois. I did military funerals. There's something about seeing life from a different perspective, and it's very eye-opening.
Hmm.
From my enlisted time, the military sent me to West Point. I did an additional year of enlisted time at West Point. Then they sent me to their Corps of Cadets, where I earned my degree as business management. And I plan to use that in the future. I plan to help utilize that education for the government as well. Just because we have such a massive spending, it seems like no politician or government agency actually understands math behind what they're spending.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole oh, if we just spend more and more and more, that's not going to have any kind of impacts on inflation or anything like that. I mean, $95 billion. When you see it written out in these bills, it's actually truly incredible. You're like, wait a second. How much is it? $95 billion, and then you see all the zeros in the bills, and you're like, "What? That's actually $95 billion that they're giving away to this country that's overseas." I mean, at this point, we should just make Ukraine a 51st state, right? But you're a really young guy, and we before we got disconnected there, I was telling you or asking you about term limits. You get the Dick Durbins, you've got these Congress critters that have been there for a long time. I mean, even you know not trying to rip on Mike Boss, but also trying to rip on Mike Boss. Darren Bailey is running against him in I think it's the 12th district. I don't know. I gotta look that up, but
Yes.
it's the 12th.
Yes.
Yeah. So Mike Boss, you look at his voting record. He's voted almost every single time for the Ukraine spending packages, and it's just like, whoa, 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 wait a second. He's got like a terrible rating on conservative rater. When it comes to vote or the rating system for our congressman. Hey, is he does he vote conservatively? Well, the answer is no. But you've got these people who are in Congress, have been in politics forever. Your thoughts on term limits and what kind of problems happen when you've got Dick Durbins who have been in there. I was on the phone with my dad actually, and I appreciate on your webpage, you talk about your hobbies, mudding and dirt racing and things like that, motorcycles. Um, my dad and I, we used to do all that. My brother, it's a great time, just living in Central Illinois. But so your thought, I was telling him, I was like, hey, Dad, Dick Durbin did this and this, and he goes, man, Dick Durbin has been around since I was like a young boy, and my dad is like sorry, Dad, you're like old. But I was like, wait a second, since you've been a young boy, so I mean, for the duration of his life, I mean, that's a long time for somebody to be serving as or as a senator and in politics. So, your thoughts on term limits and why get into the race? You're such a young guy. Not a whole lot of young people are getting into politics.
Well, I would say a lot of young people, especially my age demographic, they're focused on their now careers. They're trying to build their careers. Uh, if this congressional uh, run doesn't work, I plan to start a business. So I'm not too concerned about uh, the career aspect of things. But in terms of the term limits, do you like hiking or mountain climbing?
Yeah, yeah, I hike. I do camping and hiking. Mhm.
What's one of the highest mountains you've climbed?
Okay. There's not a whole lot of options here in Illinois there, Josh, but Shawnee National Forest is about well, no, I've gone up actually Chimney Rock in North Carolina. So that was pretty high.
So when you were at the very top of that mountain, how far did things seem to you?
Pretty far.
But you could
Uh,
get a oh,
yeah, they I mean, when you're up there at the top, I mean, it just is like everybody's like little tiny ants, and we saw a little boat and I'm like, is that a boat? I can't even tell. It's so far away.
and that's the point I'm trying to get across. It is when these politicians are in there for such a long time, it's as if they were on top of this mountain. People, issues, money, it all seems like these very small ants. They really don't understand the grasp of some of the situations that they're actually voting on now. With Dianne Feinstein, when she was going through her treatment, her daughter was actually voting for her bill, so it wasn't even her in the Senate chambers.
Wow.
And you get various issues when you have politicians in there for 20, 25, 30, 40 years.
Mhm. Yeah, and in Dick Durkin's case, well over 50 years. I mean, I think that's how long he's been there, and, you're so right, I love that, you just kinda become an ant to these people, these Congress critters, because they don't even live that life anymore that you're living day in and day out. They don't live that life at all. So we've gotta take a break, but Josh, tell us where we can find out more about you and the Illinois 13th congressional race.
You can find more about me and my campaign at lloydforcongress.com or at Facebook.com/Lloyd for Congress.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Josh, and good luck in your race.
Thank you, Kat.
All right, folks, we have got to take a break, but we're going to be back, and Scott Robbins will join me on the other side. This is the Morning Buzz. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. And for the last time, I'm Kat Peterson. This is my last show. And joining me, special guests. You know him, you love him, Scott Robbins. Scott, good morning. How are you? Are you excited to talk about the news today?
Well, I am. I mean, it's mixed emotions for me. I mean, heck, man, you're leaving the day-to-day broadcast, which we need good broadcasters in this business, and you were certainly one of them. But I understand too. I get it. I mean, people move on. People do other things, and it's not like you're leaving broadcasting completely. We can't say what you're doing yet, but I do want to share a quick story about this, and that is when we started Cities. I can't even remember what year it was now. I'm Joe Biden in that one. I don't know, sometime. But anyway, I did my news guy at the time, and my co-host was a guy named Coleman. We called him Coleman. It was Cole Lauterbach is his name. And Cole sent me a note last night. You are going to work for the same company he works for, only he's in Arizona doing it. So it's so strange.
Interesting.
It is the first the co-host that I had at Cities and the last co-host I had at Cities are both working for the same company, only in different locations around the country. It's bizarre, man. But I was blown away by that one. I do want to wish you all the luck in the world, though. I love you, Kat. You know that. And we had some fun together. I was trying to remember how many was it a year we were together on the air, or was it longer than that?
I think it was about a year, maybe a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, I think it was around a year. But anyway, it was a real pleasure working. I mean, we'll stay in touch, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, we always have.
We're best pals, and I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you too. But anyway, I'm going to miss you a lot. And I know Bloomington Normal is going to miss you a lot because there was no place to go for what you were doing. It was the conservative voice, and there is no other conservative voice out there. But at any rate, things happen, things go on, and in this business, it's transient anyway, a lot of times. So
I'm just worried about Howard and how weird.
Well, you know what? They can't play stompy foot with you anymore.
Yeah.
They'll let them go play stompy foot somewhere else.
Yeah.
And perhaps be the thing, and all the other weirdos. I mean, fine, sure. Be your progressive weirdos or a dime a dozen, But you put the stop sign up and say, well, that's not going to happen. It's my show. This is what we do. And if you don't like that, go get a show of your own and do it. And good luck with that, by the way. Mm-hmm. You're going to make some people happy leaving too. I mean, good. It's like you leave and all of a sudden the station becomes classic rock. Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
I mean, you're still going to have to contend with conservative voices. You're going to have to contend with our show too. It continues to roll on Cities, or at least I think it does, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, Markley Van Camp and Robbins. It's on in the evenings.
Yeah, we're on in the evenings. But anyway, and I'm just very proud of you. You've come a long way. You were just a kid. I mean, I feel like you were just a kid when you started with me. And we had a great time together. And then you were able to launch into your own thing and do your own thing. And you certainly did that. And you did it successfully. And you will be successful wherever you go because that's who you are. You're driven. You're purpose-driven. You're talented. And those two things usually work pretty well together. So I think you'll be fine.
Well, thanks, Scott Robbins. I'm sure going to miss it, I think, but I'm excited for big things. I'm excited for big things.
And you never know, man. I mean, you and I may be doing a radio show together again someday. You don't know how this thing works. I mean, this business we're in, it's interesting, the twists and turns it takes sometimes, but who knows?
Who knows?
And that somebody suggested to me, Markley Van Camp Robbins and Cat.
Markley Van Camp and Robbins and Cat. Wow.
And Cat. Yeah, that's what they said. Markley Van Camp Robbins. Just add her to the show. It's like, gosh dang, I don't know if we got enough
microphones
for 4 different people. Yeah. But at any rate, I do wish you luck, though. I do wish you a lot of luck, and we'll keep in touch. And I'm really proud of you. And as a broadcaster, you became a great broadcaster. And hopefully you'll return. So, although you're still going to be broadcasting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we just can't.
I'll be in broadcast journalism. Just can't.
Yeah, broadcast journalism, and because you actually are a journalist.
Yeah,
I just pretend I am. But anyway, it should be fun. And like I say, you got big plans too for your life. Your life is unfolding at a rapid rate too. I mean, everything changed.
Yeah, try planning a wedding. Oh,
Yeah, you're
and
planning.
also I have to tell you, because I know you're an animal person and everybody who
Yeah,
knows you knows you're an animal person.
yeah.
One, I want to know how the cats are too. I have to tell you, we think we're getting a new dog. Her name is going to be Winnie, and it's actually the fiance's sister's dog's babies, puppies. So we're possibly getting, it's like a golden retriever, spaniel, cocker spaniel mix, poodle mix. So it's like a mutt, but I'm super excited for Winnie.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting a
Well,
pup.
if it was a poodle mix, you got Winnie the Pooh in there. Not,
Oh,
see how I played on that
so
one?
actually, you want to know why we went with the name Winnie?
No, why?
So there's a gun manufacturer, and it's Winchester.
Oh yeah.
But we weren't going
So
to call her Winchester, so we shortened it to Winnie.
that's
Because we're big with
gun.
the gun.
Yes, yes, indeed. All right. Well, that's I still got my 2 cats. You know that.
Yeah. How are they doing?
Oh, my cats are great. Yeah, they're laying on my bed right now, sleeping. But yeah. So anyway, life changes, things happen, and you're on your way. On your way. If you're not living in Bloomington though right now, correct? I mean.
Nope. I live in Lincoln.
Yeah, you're driving back and forth every day too, so that'll help. You won't have to do that anymore.
Oh yeah.
No, save on the gas money, because in Biden's America, I mean, prices are going down. I mean,
Yeah. You know what? It's just the greedy oil companies. Scott, have you written Sharon Chung and checked in with her?
Yeah. Well, by the way, speaking of her, what I thought she was going to go after big oil, and so nothing's happened there yet. Are you telling me that?
Yeah. The gas
was
price
just a lot of
still
smoke. Right? Yeah. Okay. Hey, here's the thing. I'm just going to say this as a parting shot. I've said this on the show before. We do have an election coming up in November, and I'm going to miss the fact that you're not covering it on cities anymore. But what I will say about this is this. I get it. You hate Donald Trump. I get it. I understand. You hate him. Never going to vote for Trump. I get it. But you can't vote for Joe Biden. You can't. So my suggestion is sit it out or just leave it blank.
Mm-hmm.
If that's really how you feel, just leave it blank. I mean, don't you can't vote for that guy. I mean, we're way past the dementia thing now. We're into another part of the territory here. But I mean, that's my point. I never would say that ordinarily. I never would say don't sit out an election. Maybe just skip the president thing and just go on the other part of the ballot. Or write in Arnold Schwarzenegger or Marshall Dillon or whatever. I don't care. But just you can't vote for that guy. You can't.
It's like voting for, pudding brain. I like how much of his brain, and I've been, slightly increasing on the show, Scott. How much of a percentage is his brain actually like pudding, mashed potatoes? I mean, it's got to be at least. I've been saying 70%, 72%. Your thoughts? What's the percentage there?
Well, it's more like 90, but I mean,
I'm being conservative.
And the thing is, I look at the guy and I say to myself, there's some side of me that is almost sympathetic for the people that pushed him out there and keep pushing him out there for their own gain. I mean, it's a sad situation. It's just so sad when you see this person deteriorating right before your eyes. And again, this is not your uncle who was working at the hardware store. This is the guy who's running the country, allegedly.
Yeah.
And so we can't.
I've thought about this before, and I'm not too sure if there's a way to do this, but to report elder abuse. Like we have an entire nation witnessing elder abuse, and in any other situation, we would report this to the authorities. So I don't know if we got the entire country to report this to.
Or the corporate board would just say, hey, it's time. Go enjoy the rest of your life. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't do this anymore. And all this selling him is this. He's sharp as a tack, and in the meetings he is focused, and he blah blah. We know better than that. Everybody does. We've seen him. Mm-hmm. I mean, what are we doing? So at any rate, I guess that's my last thing. You can't vote. I get the whole Trump. I hate Trump thing. And there's a lot of people that aren't going to be changed one way or another about Trump. They just hate him.
Yeah.
They hate him, hate him, hate him. And we could talk till we're blue in the face about accomplishments.
Leave
It's
it
not going to
blank.
matter. Yeah, it's not going to matter. So anyway, just leave it blank, or just put Cat Peterson's name in there. Write it in. That's fine
Write
too.
it in. Write it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Ugh, gosh, I'm telling you, these people, the politicians, they are nasty little critters. They are.
Well, a lot of them are terrible people.
Well, and
Yeah,
did you hear this? And you and I both like John Kennedy. I mean,
I do. I
he is
know. I
a
can.
firebrand. And then you start to realize, oh man, is he just grandstanding? And he's out there, talking the talk, but he's not walking the walk. You saw he voted for this what was it, the national security bill with the clause in there that,
Yeah.
hey, we have to provide funding to Ukraine for, an infinite amount of years.
Right.
It's like, oh
Right.
boy. And you're like, man, I thought we knew who our friends were. I guess not.
No, I was shocked at that one too. That one was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the Mayorkas thing, which is consuming a lot of headlines today, is it's this thing's dead on arrival in the Senate. It's not going to happen. I mean, I think it's more symbolic than anything, but it also draws attention to the fact that this guy is a complete and utter failure.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in this cabinet is full of people like that, and nobody's been fired. I don't know what you got to do to get fired in the cabinet of Biden's White House. I have no idea, because nobody loses their job. They all just continue on. They plod through it. So I don't know.
Scott, thanks so much for joining me. I gotta take
all
a break.
right. Okay, Kat. Well, good luck to you.
Aw, thanks,
Keep in
Scott.
touch. Keep in touch with me. You got my number. And I like your fiance a lot. He met my approval right away. So anyway, not that you were looking for it. Not that you were looking for it, but at any rate, I was just like, hey man, if you're gonna marry Kat, I gotta at least meet you first, buddy. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Once I got that stamp approval, I was like, all right, I gotta go through with it.
Now you have to. Yeah, now you're forced. All right. Love you, Kat.
Love you.
I'll talk to you later. Okay. All
Bye.
All right.
Scott Robbins, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be back on the other side. It's the Last Morning Buzz Show. This is Cities 92.9. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. I was telling you guys a little bit about these climate cultists, and you know, they're upset that there's all this vegetation. They're calling it the global greening. Okay, this is a phenomenon that's going on, and our Earth is becoming more and more green. Quite literally, there's more vegetation. It's uh, our blue planet. So we've got oceans. Our oceans. It's not just occurring like inland, on land. It's occurring in the oceans where it's getting greener. This is what research shows. Now, Vox, they've got this piece out there, and they're saying that this greening phenomenon, is a bad thing because humans are altering the environment on a planetary scale. So yes, this is probably happening because humans, carbon emissions, you can say that our carbon emissions are up. I don't truly believe the science behind that, but uh, God perfectly designed the earth, right? And as our carbon emissions go up, the more plants they gobble that carbon dioxide, yeah. They gobble that all up, and then they grow and grow and grow and breed and breed and breed, and there's more and more plant life to suck up that carbon. So there's no need for your electric vehicle. There's no need for the solar industrial plant taking over our farmland. There's no need for all of that. Um, there's no need for you to stop eating meat either. So all of these, solutions are anti-human. And at the heart of the issue, these climate cultists, they are not about climate. They're about being anti-human, and they're anti-human, and they're saying in this Vox article that global greening is a bad thing because humans caused it. Okay. Uh, some, but they say it's bad because humans caused it, but that's ridiculous. But something is not bad just because humans may or may not have a hand in it. It's either a good thing or a bad thing in and of itself, right? And the global greening, I think, is a good thing for every single species on the planet. So in the age of deforestation, right, and this is what Vox says, you might expect Earth to be getting browner and more gray as satellites see stumps uh, places of trees and runaways in place of wetlands. Where is all the green color coming from? See, they can't even keep their lies straight. Okay, so Vox is saying that there's deforestation, but there's also this greening that's going on, this global greening that's going on, and they can't keep up with their anti-scientific claims. They claim that we won't have forests anymore, yet they're so confused why the exact opposite is happening. So somebody's lying. It's got to be that deforestation isn't happening at the rate they think it is. It's either deforestation is bad, or it's not, or it's global greening is good, or global greening is bad. You can't have both. Deforestation cannot be bad, and global greening cannot also be bad at the same time. That's not how this logic works. Okay, they say that deforestation is a bad thing, but then they also say greening is a bad thing. This global greening that's going on is a bad thing. I've got to take a quick break. You're listening to the Morning Buzz, Cities 92.9. Good morning. Hey, this is the Morning Buzz Cities 92.9. We're at the top of the hour. Joining me on the stream, that's David Paul Blumenshine. Good morning, David. How are you?
Hey, there she is. It's the final countdown. Kat
It's
Peterson.
the
Happy Valentine's
final
Day,
show.
Kat Peterson.
Hey, happy Valentine's Day. Love you, David.
Well, I love you, and obviously you're an amazing human being, and I am so thankful to be here today on the farewell edition of the Morning Buzz with Kat Peterson.
A
And it's not
farewell
really
edition.
farewell. It's not a goodbye. It's a hello.
Yes.
Because you are just embarking on the best years of your life, especially in light of what's going to transpire this year with your wedding to that amazing human being, also Brian. Can I say his name on there? I already
Yeah.
did. So
That's all right.
obviously, I think you've said it before. Um, just not last names. Just not last names.
Yes.
That was
Not
good to
last
hear
name.
you and Scott. I miss hearing Scott and you banter back and forth. So it's kind of it's unfortunate. It's kind of like a funeral, right? You have to wait until the end of your life for people to come but you're not doing that. I'm not saying it's your funeral or anything, Kat.
Well, I actually heard from someone that when Robert Reese left after his time here at Cities 92.9 as the morning show host, they hosted some sort of like party or get together here, and it felt like a funeral. That's what this listener was telling me. They were like, "Oh, they hosted something there," and they were like, "Yeah, but it kind of felt like a funeral because he was leaving." And I was like, "Oh boy." No, I love the show and I love the listeners, and it's gonna be tough to leave, I'm sure, but it's gonna be a good thing. So, and I'm
You'll
glad
get
that I had you and Scott help me in the conservative news talk world. I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. I know that.
well, I remember it like it was yesterday when you first embarked on the morning show with Scott Robbins, and I was a loyal listener, and and I had my own little gig there at Cities, and thankful for the time that I had there. For 3 years I was on Sundays from 1 to 3, and through that time I had an opportunity to be with you on the morning show and with Ty Smith, Kevin Ferris, Paul Garcia, some of the people that really really impacted my life. And those friendships you'll are forever.
Mhm.
They just don't go away. I experienced that with my 60th birthday party here recently that you were at. It was like a being present for your funeral visitation, but you didn't have to wait till you were dead. And that's kind of what this is. You're surrounding yourself with the people that have loved you over time, and they're just going to be there in support of you as you embark on this new adventure, because it is. I think the best is yet to come. That is without question.
The best is yet to come. I'm excited.
Hey, Kat, did you notice my hat today?
Yes, and I want to direct listeners to your YouTube channel. You are in your uh, studio.
Bunker.
You're
Yes,
in
I'm
your
in my
bunker.
studio, Kat. This
You're
is
in
the
your
place I
studio.
landed. Yeah. This is my home away from home. Actually, I don't spend much time here. Only Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 am I live from studio, and I'm planning on expanding that. There's a lot that we can do with the conservative voice here in Illinois, and part of the show yesterday was about that. We need change. I heard you and Scott talking about Mayorkas and all the things that go on in Washington that are very symbolic. What we really need is a total transformation, a restoration. I heard you talking with Josh, the congressional candidate of the 13th. I'm going to reach out to Josh's people and tell him that he needs to not do interviews from the cave. But that's other than that.
I know. I know.
You,
Well,
a
you
little
can blame
echoey,
Kev
a little
Ferris for
echoey
that
there,
because
Josh.
guess who's Josh's people? Kev Ferris. He's a
Yeah,
radio guy. What the heck? You
come
didn't
on,
tell him
radio
to
guy.
go into like some sort of like
There,
you
there,
want
there
things
you
on the wall.
not like those Trump 2024 banners behind you or this Darren Bailey for Congress hat on top of my head. I was
Yeah.
handed that by Darren Bailey. He said, "Hey, DPB, I noticed you don't have one of my hats. I said, no one's blessed me with one of those yet. And he said, here you go. And he gave me 2. So I
Hey,
decided this is the first time I took the sticker off. So I'm not wearing the sticker today, because even though that's the cool thing to do.
yeah, I love wearing stickers. All right, we're gonna be
Yeah.
back for our radio friends. Hang out there for a second,
Okay.
David. We'll be right back. Mm, 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 mm. Woohoo! Hey, good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. I so do appreciate you tuning in each and every day. And today is the last day you will be hearing this program. Tomorrow you will hear Hugh Hewitt, and he is going to be he's a syndicated radio host. He's in 450 different markets. He's fantastic. Conservative, interviewed Donald Trump. I listened to the interview before deciding to have Hugh on in as a replacement. And then you get to listen to Tom Davis at about 7:19 a.m. in the morning every single morning. So there are some program changes coming. So tomorrow morning, if you listen to this program, it's going to be a little bit different. So all of those changes will be on our website, cities929.com by 11 a.m. today. Joining me, you guys know him, you love him. It's David Paul Blumenshine. Fun little factoid about Paul Blumenshine. One, he's in his studio. He switched over to podcasting. God led him to uh, green pastures, the greener pastures of podcasting. No, I love radio, but yeah, he's podcasting the DPB show. Fun factoid: I decided, or well, so I was at Illinois State University and I was listening to Cities 92.9, and I was a conservative in college, but kind of a closeted conservative working for public radio and NPR. And, I was kind of hiding that I was a conservative and kind of, spewed out these left wing talking points a lot of the time to try to get friends and things like that. But I was listening to Cities 92.9. A professor of mine, Steve, he worked here as a part-time host on the weekends. And, I said, hey, I closed the door and I say, hey, what do you think about, putting in a good word for me at this job here at Cities 92.9? I really like the radio or the radio station, and I like their programming. And I used to listen to David Paul Blumenshine every Sunday because I would go to my parents' house to go to church most times. And on the way back from church, I would listen to David Paul Blumenshine on the radio. And he made me want to really get into radio, which is kind of funny because I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I was actually a news director at WZND. Shout out to them. They're great over there. It's a great internship program. I was a news director and I was helping this news reporter of mine do a story on David and Dan Brady at the Alumni Center when they were doing a debate. And I was like, this guy makes so much sense. David Paul Blumenshine, this is a conservative movement bubbling up. And I go, this is just the start. More guys like this are going to be coming out in these races and they're going to be challenging the Republican establishment. And I was like, this is incredible. I can't believe this guy sounds like a stuffy politician. David Paul Blumenshine, he's, more vibrant. Like, I thought you were like, I don't know, 30 years younger than the guy, honestly. But, obviously you guys were about the same age. But just the way you talked, I was like, man, yeah, this is like exciting. I'm excited about politics. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together that you were also the same guy on the radio. So, David Paul Blumenshine, that's just a little factoid about the history of how Kat became a radio show host. So that's a little bit of career history. Thanks for being on, David. I appreciate it.
Kat, I would not have missed this. Your final show on Cities, which, you can never say final forever. You never know what happens in the world of radio podcasting, but it's good to be here with you because, this is not goodbye. This is hello, because you're embarking on something that is so much bigger than what you've done, which is really cool to watch, because the person you've become over the past 3 years, I'm just in awe, to watch your growth, the journey that you've been on. Thank you for those kind words. That was my intention from day one, was to build the
Mm,
bench. I never got into politics. I didn't run against Dan Brady because I didn't like Dan Brady. I mean, everybody likes Dan Brady, right?
mhm,
He's a career politician, retail politician, and that's what I was, pushing back against. You talked about it earlier with Josh, who's running for Congress in the 13th Congressional District. We've had a lifetime of politicians on both sides of the aisle, and unfortunately, that's not about what the people's voice is. If we want to be the consent of the governed, then we need to step out. And you've been a big part of that. You, Ty Smith, Kevin Ferris, Paul Garcia, Ryan McKenzie. I mean, the list goes on. You're the future of the Republican Party. You're the future of this country, of this state. It
mhm,
happens to be that you guys all would tend to vote Republican at this time because it aligns with your values, your morals, which is something that's missing in our
mm,
nation. We've lost that. So to watch you grow and just become the force you have, and I've watched it from afar and I've watched it close up. I've been on the show with you. I've seen interviews where you put Rodney Davis, Congressman Rodney Davis, on the spot. He was cornered by cat, is like, that's what I like to say. Cornered by cat. Darren LaHood. I was in studio when you were asking Darren about Kevin McCarthy and why he uh, was, in the words of Darren, deserving of the speakership. And it really made him uncomfortable. And that's what we need to do with one another. And that's not a smack on Rodney or Darren. I mean, I believe they're good people, but I love Josh's analogy. Once you get on top of the mountain, everything seems so far away. And
mhm,
until you go back down to the valley, you start seeing the struggles. My studio where I'm amongst working people, and you can just sense they wake up every day. As the old song goes, they wake up every morning from the alarm clock morning or the alarm clock warning, take the 8:15 into the city. They're working
mhm.
overtime, right? And that's the crowd you talk to. I'm looking at the comments, Kat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, and I loved that analogy from Josh. And like you said, it's on sides of the aisle. So the national security bill. I was talking about that a lot this morning, and that tiny little clause in there that would Trump up, right, where he wouldn't be able to withdraw from or pause any kind of Ukraine funding.
Yeah,
All the way through, I think it was 2025. It was like practically unlimited funding to Ukraine. It was a $95 billion Senate bill, and you've got senators out there, and pay attention to the way they vote. John Kennedy, he's a grandstander, and he's out there and he's talking about the wokies, and he's blasting them, but then he votes for this. And Mike Bost, another one, he is out there, and he's that video of him from back in his Illinois State House days. I think he was a state rep. um, it goes viral, and he's like, "Yeah, he's a conservative." Pay attention to the way they vote. Dennis
that's right.
Tipsword, right? He's out there, he's like, "Yeah, I'm pro law enforcement." Really? Because you co-sponsored legislation that makes it to where, migrants can be or non-citizens can be police officers and have arresting powers over citizens. You
Hmm.
co-sponsored that. So then you start to look at other things, and the corruption that you exposed on your show is just so incredible. I mean, things like, this single family ban act, this zoning act where municipalities or counties over 100,000 in population, you can't zone for single family. Those types of things in Springfield, coming out of Springfield, that's what's really screwing over Illinois. Um, and people don't pay attention to the way they vote. And these old guys like John Kennedy, Mittens, Mitt Romney, and they just keep voting, and they're so far away from the people. And the day in, days out. I was at if you want to know, like, if you want to get in touch with the American worker, really just visit a mechanic. Like, if you go
Yeah.
into a mechanic shop,
Yep.
I went into this mechanic shop and they were just so bubbly, and she makes me a cup of coffee. I'm sitting there waiting, and they were super honest. We had a nail in the tire and I had to go take the car in and try to get that patched up, and they were honest and they said, "Hey, we can't really patch it here because it's in a spot where you can't patch it." And you see the exhaustion on their face. Or, like, you can see it, how tired they are because they got cars out of the
Yeah.
parking lot, they're so busy,
Yeah.
um, and you can see the exhaustion, but they're still like this hope, this American dream, and at every turn, these politicians who are so far removed from that, and they're looking down on you like your little ant, they they try to squash the American dream with things like the Single Family Zoning Ban Act, this new abortion tax credit where abortion providers and abortion seekers get $500 in tax credits. Like, come on. You know what I mean? You're literally destroying the American dream. Having children, having the picket fence, having a home, So, thoughts, David. Actually, I do want to ask you about the Single Family Ban Act because you're kind of an expert when it comes to real estate. I go to you when I have questions about real estate. So the Single Family Ban Act, I don't even really understand. I've got to. He actually called me. I got a voicemail from Ken Buckner. He was trying to reach out to me. I had reached out to him for comment, but it's his bill. He's a Democrat. In the bill, it says a zoning unit of over, 100,000, and that unit can be a county, a municipality, or a township. Your thoughts about the Single Family Ban Act? What are they trying to do with that?
Well, and I haven't looked at the bill. I just was going off of what you had mentioned. Because once again, these bills, they start out as something innocuous, right? That seems like it's going to benefit people overall. And unfortunately, they always end up in the same place, confusing the public, but yet we have bad legislation. It's not about the free market, and these people are just trying to govern population growth, especially the influx of population that is coming into the state of Illinois because of the sanctuary status and the illegal migration. Uh,
Well, I got a tip here, David, and I don't know how true this is, but something is going on over at the Salvation Army.
yeah,
It was in News Happening this morning, so shout out to Mark. I think he
yeah,
runs that page, but
yeah. He's still
um,
part of it. Yep, he's an administrator on it.
yep, and it says, anyone know what's happening at Salvation Army between Mason and Center? And somebody says, I heard that it was a drop off of a bunch of migrants, 134 people
Yep.
in that area. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, yesterday I was going down Veterans Parkway, and I don't know what just happened to my feed, but I went away.
I've got your
It's
audio.
Yeah, it's just my voice. I don't know. Is it my camera? Hold on. Let me push it on there. See if it timed itself out. I don't know. I'll have to fix it during a break. But I saw 4 young men between the ages of 18 probably and 28 trying to cross Veterans Parkway, and there's not very many crosswalks, but it was very obvious that we are seeing an influx in McLean County. In LaSalle County, they just voted the other night 24-0, their county board, not to be a sanctuary county. We, on the other hand, we have not well, we had a vote, but it was just a consideration of a resolution um, to also follow suit and not be a sanctuary county. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. And so I don't know what's specifically happening. It's going to prompt me to go down and kind of investigate a little bit. I'll let you know what I see. It wouldn't surprise me. Getting
Mm.
back to the housing, yes, across mid America, you're seeing more and more multifamily developments. because that is the essence, right? They want to do away with single family. The developers, uh, urban sprawl, where they develop subdivisions, they're trying to limit that. They
Mm.
believe they'd rather have everybody condensed into 15-minute communities. You remember that town of Normal was talking about that, the 15-minute cities where everybody's within 15 minutes of everything, and
Oh, yeah.
it's just part of the Green New Deal and the way that the Great Reset on how they envision life in on this earth. I mean, because that's what they are. They're a bunch of earthies, and ultimately, you know, they're going to continue. They're progressives. They don't stop. They continue to go down the path of this Marxist, communist, socialist way of living.
Mhm. David, we have to take a quick break, but you're
Yeah, I'm
listening
gonna
to
try
the
to fix
Morning
my
Buzz.
camera.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fix
yeah.
my camera.
Join us on the stream, folks. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. David's going to be joining us on the other side. This is the Morning Buzz. Like I said, it is the last Morning Buzz program. We will be putting in Hugh Hewitt. He is a conservative powerhouse. He is uh, interviewed great people like Donald Trump. And he is going to be taking over the 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. hour. And then after him, it's going to be Glenn Beck, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then, of course, our regular lineup. But in the Hugh Hewitt show, there's going to be something called Tom's 10. Tom's 10 is a place where Tom Davis, our news director, he is going to he's going to unload the local news. He's just going to fill you in, and you're going to get your fix of local news. So I'm going to be back here next on the Morning Buzz with David. This is Cities 92.9. Woohoo! All right, so we're back on the stream, folks. If you're watching, like the program, share this out with your friends. I heard that, but couldn't confirm that they were dropping around the Salvation Army and also the Bloomington DMV. I contacted Chris Bolkema for Illinois State Senate District yesterday. Yes, Chris Bolkema, he's awesome. He's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't confirm it either, but that's just what folks are saying in the community, that it looks like about 134 immigrants are going to be dropped off there.
Well, and I appreciate Chad, you being on top of it. Look at that. Chad Burke is, Kat, Dave, my two favorite people on the air. May God bless you both. Kat, my family, and in prayers and your continued success spreading your message of his word and message as well. Well, thank
Mm,
you, Chad.
thanks, Chad.
This is the impact you've had, Kat, on so many people's lives and will continue to have. I'm looking forward to what lies ahead for Kat
For
Peterson.
Kat.
I mean,
For Kat.
so much more in 2024,
Yes, more
more
in
of everything.
2024.
Kat,
Really
go
quick,
ahead.
David, I want people to or I want you to tell people where they can find you on YouTube. I probably will join you sometimes on your program just to get my fix um,
Well, Kat,
of chatting.
I'm hoping you'll be a frequent flyer at the DPB show. In fact, if need be, I can rename the DPB show to
Oh,
the Cat
that.
and I'll even give you front billing, the Cat and DPB, uh, because it's just so much better when there are two people. Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Uh, I
That's a
didn't
great
answer your
show.
question. At the DPB show, if you're going to go to Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Facebook, I am at the DPB show. I'm live 4 to 5 right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 to 5. Had a big show yesterday. I'm just impressed with this format, this platform. And yes, you would excel in the podcasting world because you're Cat, and the people are, granted, I get it, people can watch you, listen to you on from 6 to 9, and that will end as of today, but hopefully we'll figure out a place for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know I'll be a semi-frequent flyer on the DPB show, at
Yeah.
least. So, hey, Kat, if you're leaving, where can we find you or listen to you? I will be a guest on David's show, the DPB show, sometime. So go subscribe today. That is the best way to get your content, your conservative content. Subscribe to David on at the DPP show. You're going to want to type that in YouTube. And Caleb, I know you have YouTube. You commented from YouTube. So subscribe to at the DPP show. Yeah. So when we come back, we talked about the single family zoning ban. Another thing in the news that I wanted to talk about was this abortion tax credit thing. So I think they're getting like $500 or something like that if you're an abortion provider or an abortion seeker. And the first thing that came to my head, I was like, wait a second. I was like, do the pregnancy resource centers get a tax credit? Because they're actually helping people live, right? And these abortion providers, and I don't know if you saw this, David, but Planned Parenthood. Yes, living alternatives. I love living alternatives. Yes.
I have my sweatshirt out today, Kat. I didn't have it on for air. I might have to, if we're coming back from break, I might have to put it on. Where's your next step?
Where are your next step? Pregnancy Resource Center. They've got a location in Lincoln, and they've also got one in Bloomington here. They're great. But I would love a tax credit, but I've got to go get an abortion in order to go get $500 from the government or from the taxpayer, right? And the taxpayers are out all this money, and it's like, and Planned Parenthood, this was a big thing in the news this week. They came out and they said, hey, if you didn't kill your baby by the age of 1, you need to ask them what gender they are.
Oh boy.
1 to
boy.
3 is the best age range
No.
to ask them what gender they are, and whatever they say, you need to accommodate to that.
Wow. Wow. Because they're not going to stop. Once again, these people, and I say these people, they are the progressive Marxist leftists who just thrive on ruining souls, because most of them, are just out of contact with any part of spiritual existence. Turn to me. Today's scripture that I was reading is just so powerful, because it is the start of Ash Wednesday, the Lenten season, or it is Ash Wednesday, the start of the Lenten season. And, we need to return to the roots. I feel for people, because what leads somebody to do something so horrific as to sacrifice their child and then receive money for doing that? I pray for those souls. I
Yeah.
pray for the souls of the mother and the child. And I think we
And the
all need to be in.
providers, because that's gonna be a
Yeah.
tough thing to do, and to, do that line of work, and then to come out of that, and then also get more money, for doing
Yes.
that line of work at the
Oh.
taxpayer expense.
Oh, wow. But that's what Bruce Rauner, former governor of Illinois, and J.B. Pritzker were committed. Bruce Rauner is the one that put a lot of that legislation into place with the guidance of his wife, Diane, who was not a conservative thinker.
Mhm. Soy boy. We're back in just a little bit. Hold on a second there, David, and then we'll be back for Radio Friends. You're listening to the
Yep.
Morning Buzz. Whoa. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz on Cities 92.9. It is my last show, and I am so grateful for all of you. I love you. A lot of we've gotten to see each other a lot of see each other in a lot of different places. I think the last in-person kind of promotion that we did was at Ride the Nines Shooters Lounge. Shout out to them. And David and I were there, and we got to interact with some listeners. And I love doing those things where you get to interact with listeners out and about in the public, and getting out from behind the microphone and meeting some of the listeners in person. David Paul Blumenschein is joining me here. Good morning, David. David, how are you? It is the start of Lent today.
Kat, it is. Today is Valentine's Day. It is Ash Wednesday. It is the beginning of the Lenten season. Return to me, says the Lord, with all of your heart and all of your mind and everything to give to the Lord. What a great day it is. It is also the last dance for Kat. That's Diana Ross. The last dance.
The
It's the
last day.
last dance, yes, for Kat today at Cities 92. However, big things are ahead of Kat Peterson. as she embarks on a new venture. I am
Mhm.
looking forward to the job you're going to do at your new employment. And I'm just so excited because it is perfect. It's a perfect fit for you. It's everything you've worked for over the past 2.5 years, 3 years, whatever it's been. I know that we always discuss when you came on board with cities. It was shortly after the DPB show was launched in September
Mhm.
of 2020.
Yep, yep. I graduated in April of 2021 from Illinois State, and then became a producer here, and just kind of progressively became a show host. So that has been a joy. It has been great to learn more about radio and to get to work with David in all of these years. But I also want to kind of highlight something that happened, I think this year or last year. I think it was last year, the WAPO article. You know who's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
real happy that I'm leaving? I mean, a lot of people are gonna be sad in the comment section. You guys are welcome to, come on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble, or you can
yeah,
text 309-451-9299. But Annie from the WAPO, she might actually be if she's still there. I don't know, they did a lot of layoffs,
yeah.
but
They did.
if she's still there, I bet she's gonna be sad and or she probably is gonna be overjoyed,
Yes.
that I'm
If
gone.
she's still at WAPO, we don't know if she is. What's that they say, Annie? Get your gun. She came a hunting for
Came
you and
on.
I, Cat, and that's a badge of honor that we wear when JB
It's a
Pritzker was
highlight of
the.
my career, I'm gonna be honest. I really
That's
enjoyed
right.
the WAPO article.
Yeah, no, yes, I refer to it frequently because once again, it shows you just the worldviews of different people and how someone like Annie can gather the information that she did that day and create the article she did. It was just purely playing to the base of the crazies on the left and to some of the people on our side of the aisle because they are lock in step with them at times, especially when it comes to Senate bills and anything that's good for the country. That's why we need a total cleaning of the House. We haven't drained the swamp enough. Thankfully, that Trump will be doing that. Hey, Kat, look at this mug of mine. You know what this symbolizes? It's the Chicago Cubs championship, World Series championship. Do you know that was in 2016 and happened on November 2nd?
Really? I
Do you
did
know what
not.
happened? Do you know what happened a few days later after the Cubs were able to win a World Series after like 108 years?
Donald Trump won.
Donald Trump was elected president of the United States of America. Yes, those were two great things that happened. And unfortunately, we haven't had a lot of high moments like that in this world. But more in 2024, Kat. It's right behind you. Trump in 2024. The momentum is building. People like you who have led the charge as a morning voice of conservative values. Uh, that's what it's about. It's going to continue, though.
Yeah. Real quick, I think we got a caller on the line. You guys are welcome to call in 309-451-9299. It's the last show. If you've got something on your chest that you just want to get off your chest, if you want to talk about something in the news today, I'll take your calls. 309-451-9299. Caller. First, your name?
Hey, Cat Peterson, Dave Quinn here, Team Blue Line. What's up?
Oh,
Hey, Quinn, how are you?
there he
Yeah,
is, the
Tennessee
man, the myth,
Tuesday
the legend.
again. Yeah,
Uh,
sounds like you're on the right path and the journey. I wish you luck, and thanks for everything you've done for not only myself but also the Team Blue Line, the guys and the gals that put it on the line every day.
well, thanks so much, Dave Quinn, and thanks for being a frequent flyer, not only on my show, but also David Paul's show.
You can't beat DQ.
I appreciate it, and like I said, good luck to you, and I wish you well.
Thanks so much, Dave Quinn, and we will be hearing from Dave Quinn, I'm sure. Tom Davis, he's going to be doing Tom's 10 at about 7:19 a.m. every morning, and yeah, Team Blue Line, he's done a lot for the law enforcement here in this community. He's got over 30 years experience. He was on BPD. Shout out to Dave Quinn, and thanks, Dave. I'm excited for my future venture and what I can do there to kind of bring or shed some light onto the crime that's been going on in the state of Illinois. It's crazy. You know what I heard yesterday? Here, buckle up, David. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
9,000 vacant beds in the Cook County Jail. Now, I don't know how many beds they have,
Hmm.
but I heard that there are 9,000 vacant beds. That's shocking because it's, the Safety Act. It's probably a reason why, right?
Well, I'm assuming that 9,000 probably is overall that the betting, the Department of Corrections cleared out. I don't know specifically. That seems a little high for Cook County, just Cook County proper. But I mean, Cook County as a whole, yeah, 9,000. Uh, I don't know if how big their jail is. Gosh, that would be a huge jail. But yeah, no, that does that shock you, Kat?
No, no. I mean, the number is baffling, but also it's like, I mean, what did you, and I was talking with somebody from church. She served in the McLean County Sheriff's Office. And she was saying that, hey, there's no cash bail. A lot of those jobs kind of go away after some time. If there were entire jobs that were dedicated to working that system, the cash bail system. And once that went away,
It was a
those,
revenue source. There's no question about it.
yeah, I mean,
Revenue for
are
the
they
county.
paying people? I don't even
Yeah.
know the questions I have about the Safety Act and how those people day in, day out continue to do what they do. I don't know.
It's just another part of the creating a sanctuary state in all means for people to do illegal activity. That's what Illinois has become. Obviously, we were hitting upon the status of taxpayer funded abortions. I mean, we have reached levels in the state of Illinois that you don't think we can go any lower, and we just double down and continue. And I say we because we hold a responsibility. That's why it is so important that every one of you get out and vote. Early voting has started.
Mm.
Please get out and vote. And don't tell me your vote doesn't count. Yes, it does. We need to monitor it. We need to carefully watch over it, and we need to push back against the voter rolls that are inundated with inactive voters. We need to clean our voter rolls. There, obviously, Tom Fenton of Judicial Watch started the process with his lawsuit of uncovering how many people are still on the voter rolls of
It's like,
Illinois.
I don't know how much it was. Do you remember? I think it's like 800,000.
800,000.
Wow.
800,000.
Right here in the state of Illinois, just alone.
Yep. Just in
Incredible.
Illinois, 800,000 inactive voters. And how you become an inactive voter, obviously, I'll let you go do the research on that, because it's important that we do the research. It's one thing just to hear Kat and I talk about it. It's another thing for you to go and investigate. Don't take our word. Go and do the research. That's why it's so important. If we're going to turn the state of Illinois around, if we're going to turn our country around, we need all hands on deck. We can no longer, we are the people. We are the consent of the governed. It has got to be our authority. It's not their authority. It's us.
Mhm.
Sorry.
We've got to
I went
take
on
a quick
tirade.
break. But David, Paul, and I are going to go to the stream, so you guys can go there, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. And then I'll come back and we're going to wrap up the show here. The last show. This is tough.
The last dance of Cat today.
This is a tough show.
Yeah.
I'll be back on the other side. Find us on the live stream. This is Cities 92.9.
All right.
Woohoo! We're back on the live stream. Good morning, friends. Smash that like button if you're watching. And David Paul, again, tell people where they can find you to subscribe.
Well, you're going to be able to find Kat and myself, because she's promised me that she's going to do more appearances on the DPB show. And
If you'll
that
have
is
me.
Uh, Kat, I'm pretty certain that I can't do my show without you. That's a little inside baseball, because Kat helps me prep to put my show forth every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 5. I am live at the DPB show. You can go to Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Facebook. Like, subscribe. We're going to continue this conversation. We need to have this conversation, and we're making it very convenient for you, because we know that your schedules are inundated with so much going on. And these talking points, things you're not going to hear on other news outlets. we know how broken Illinois is. We know how corrupt Illinois is. Heck, there was an article in Just the News the other day done by your friend, oh gosh, Kevin Bessler from Center Square. He did
Mhm.
the article on the corruption of Illinois. It's historical, and it hasn't stopped, and it's not going to stop. And that's why there has to be a voice uh, in and around the state of Illinois, Central Illinois, and beyond. Just not here. You can obviously catch us anywhere that you can
Mhm.
stream us, and so that's how you reach us. And Kat, because she's going to be a part of that.
Aw.
She's not going away. She's just uh, continuing to expand her horizons. Big
Yes.
things ahead for Kat Peterson.
Yes, big, big things. So when I come back, I'm gonna finish up this story, and I'm excited, David, because this is a hilarious story. I wanted to get to it today, and then I'm gonna wrap up the show. But um, university students, they get a little busy sometimes, and they skip a meal. Sometimes you get busy. Do you skip a meal, David?
Oh yeah, intermittent fasting. I skip it on purpose, but go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I love intermittent fasting, but here's what Harvard did. Harvard did. The Harvard Crimson is the publication there. It's a student paper, and they applauded a small group of students for not eating lunch uh, just one time and called it a hunger strike. So they had
Oh
a
wow.
12-hour hunger strike. These left-wing Harvard students, and they were protesting. Can you guess what it was?
No, Kat, go ahead. There's so many things that just came through my head. I can't imagine. What were they protesting this time around, Kat?
They were protesting Israel's war, and they're pro-Hamas.
Oh yes, of course, the anti-Semitism. Yep, yeah, yeah.
So skipping
Kill the
lunch now is I
kill
guess, a
kill the
hunger
Jews.
strike.
Yeah,
Oh, Harvard. They're such anti-Semites over there. It's
kill the
incredible.
Jews. Yeah, there's so much for what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding. It is they love peace and understanding as long as it doesn't involve fiscal responsibility, independent individual rights, following laws, yeah, things like that, not letting your country be invaded, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
digress.
so more on the story. 30 pro-Palestinian, well, really Hamas. I repeat myself. Harvard students participated in a 12-hour strike on Friday in solidarity with 17 students from Brown University. So it was two colleges who refused to eat for 8 days. So the Brown University students, they refused to eat for 8 days, which kind of interesting. That is, I think that's way more
Yeah,
than
8 days is definitely is something. I'm sure they were taking on water.
yeah, yeah.
And you never know. With a lefty fast, it could be that they just gave up their lattes and everything else like that. Was that defined as a hunger strike?
Probably.
Their
Oh, I
pizza
didn't
from
I didn't drink my Starbucks this morning, so that's a
that's right,
hunger
a
strike.
hunger strike. It's all depending on how you define the hunger. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
they
If
just
they were
constantly
truly
redefine.
doing without, yes,
Yeah.
I applaud them.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
19 students at Brown began the strike, which was originally indefinite on February 2nd, ahead of the Brown Corporation's planned meetings beginning February 8th. The students intended to strike until Brown Corporation considered a resolution to divest from companies which profit from human rights abuses in Palestine, specifically in Palestine. So, see, they're not concerned about the human rights atrocities that are happening. In other parts of the country, like I don't even know, Iran, right, where they toss gay people off of roofs or anything like that,
Yeah.
and calling on the Brown Corporation to divest from those places. They're calling on these companies to divest um, from Israel. Really, that's what they're calling on these corporations to do. So
The
yeah.
Well, and you know what? When you let off with that story, I had posted this at the DPB show at Facebook the other day, and by now they have been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. That's actually in the Gospel of Mark, and basically it was talking about when Jesus fed the multitudes, right? That
Hmm.
he realized these people had followed him. And I put up what it says. Would you spend 3 days with Jesus even if you didn't eat the whole time?
Ooh.
See, I have no problem with focusing on on our gut, on our stomachs, fasting. We
Mhm.
begin
Hey,
Lent
David,
today. Go ahead.
we're gonna pop back on for the on air, folks. Just give me 1 sec.
All right.
All right, folks, this is the Morning Buzz, Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. We got a couple of minutes in this segment before we let David go. And we've been talking a little bit about this on the stream. We've been talking about the Brown University and Harvard University students. They participated in this 12-hour hunger strike. And, the Brown University students, they held out a little longer. It didn't eat anything for 8 days. But these Harvard kids, they skipped lunch, and then they called it a hunger strike, which I don't know
Mm.
if skipping lunch nowadays is called a hunger strike, but I guess for these pro-Hamas, they were protesting Israel's war against Hamas. So that's what they were protesting. Um, David, he was telling me about some scripture he shared out onto his show site, the DPB show on Facebook, right?
That is correct. I actually shared that, when Jesus fed the multitudes, it was mentioned in Mark, the 8th chapter, verse 2. By now they have been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. And I asked the question, would you spend 3 days with Jesus even if you didn't eat the whole time? 3 days, because you've done a 3-day fast, just liquid, you and your fiance. So you understand what it's like to commit to fully doing away with the physical needs of food in your body. And that's
Mhm.
what these students were trying to do, to point out that they wanted to protest these companies that were financially involved with Israel. And
Yeah,
it just makes me aware, what is your focus, and yeah, I
I love
commend
how
I
you
commend
pointed
them
out,
for. Yeah,
David. You go, "Oh, it's a leftist." So, yeah, they're leftists. So, did they
yeah,
give up the Starbucks coffee? Is that their 8-day fast? I don't know.
yeah. What did they really get up? And it was a 12-hour fast. By no means is someone going to uh, die from a 12-hour fast.
Yes, yes, it was ridiculous, and it's like, wait, so they ended their fast, like, by 5 p.m. So, it's like, I don't if somebody, finishes dinner at 7 p.m. And
Yeah.
doesn't eat breakfast until 7 a.m., is that also considered a hunger strike? I mean, you
Well,
know what I mean?
technically
Like,
speaking, if they eat breakfast, then that's what the word breakfast means, is to break
yeah,
fast. To break
yeah.
fast.
So
So
it's
you
a
guess
fast.
you broke your 12-hour fast.
It's a fast, but it's not a hunger strike. I just couldn't believe this story. I was like, really? And they boasted about it on their Instagram page. Harvard students committed a day-long hunger strike to prove to the um, university corporations that they will not back down. That's the Harvard Palestinian Solidarity Committee. They're pro Hamas. And it's like, what does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. We're not going to back down. Okay, you're not gonna back
Cat,
down. Oh, until
that's
dinner
right.
time, then we're gonna back down.
Cat, don't you have to cut me loose so you can wrap
I
up
do.
this final dance of the morning buzz with Cat Peterson?
Yes. Where can we find out, how do we subscribe to your YouTube channel?
You can go out to YouTube, you can go out to Rumble, you can go out to Twitter X, you can go out to Facebook at the DPB show. Don't forget to put the at sign in. And you're going to see more of Cat Peterson, because she is going to be at the DPB show. In fact, we might even rename it at the Cat and DPB show.
No, 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 no. It's a great show, and I listen Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock. Thank you, David. You have a great rest of your day,
You're
and
awesome, Cat. You're going to do great things. The best is yet to come. More in 2024.
more in 2024. All right, folks, we're gonna be back on the other side for the last segment of the last morning show, of the Morning Buzz on Cities 92.9. Good morning, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. I so do appreciate it. You guys have, if you guys have a chance, like this video, share this out with your friends. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna wrap up something. I'm gonna give you a quick story on California and what they're doing out there when it comes to the firearm purchases. They are now having these major credit card companies, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. They're going to be tracking gun store purchases in California. I wouldn't be shocked if this comes to the state of Illinois, but the Constitution says shall not be infringed. And I don't know, it doesn't get much clearer than that, folks. But the Californian officials, they could care less. They don't care about any of that. So they're going to do everything they can to try to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. And they've exhausted all their options. So now they have decided to turn to the credit card companies to save the day. So MasterCard, American Express, they're reportedly um, preparing to equip California firearms and ammunition retailers with a merchant code that would track gun purchases. Yes. So these are called merchant category codes, and they're 4 digits long, 4 digits. So they're 4 digits. And yeah, they install these codes. And then that allows retailers to track and gather information about the card holders purchase. So last year, the major credit card companies, American Express, Visa, things like that, they paused this. They paused their work in applying MCCs after they were met with some opposition. But now they're back at it. So yeah, this is incredible. And like I said, I'm so incredibly grateful for you. This is my last show. And I will miss you. I will miss you, Caleb. I will miss you. Um, Thank you. I appreciate it. And I listen to Cities every day, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So, of course, I hear some of the best of the other figures of figures on our program. So, yeah, Caleb, we're going to have a great lineup for you. We're going to discuss those programming changes. If you listen on the radio, some of you are just streamers, so that's all right. You can still subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm going to keep up my YouTube channel. Probably not for a little while. I'm going to focus on my new venture and focus on family, right? And yeah, so smash that like button if you're watching. Like I said, we're going to wrap up this show. Happy Valentine's Day. 6 million people will get engaged on Valentine's Day. It's the second most popular day after Christmas. I did not know that. I got engaged recently this year. You guys know that. Tried to keep it a secret, or not a secret, but I try to keep it. You know, there's wackos out there, and I don't like to give wackos my personal life and ammunition, right? But I got engaged this year and it was awesome. I got up to in a hot air balloon and things like that. So I'm excited for the new venture. It works with my lifestyle a little bit more. Early mornings is tough. I loved every minute of it, and I'm totally a morning person. But like 4 a.m. in the morning, is it even morning? It's early. So this is going to be a great change. I'm excited. It's sad. This has been a lot of the show is really it was meant to be a place where like-minded conservatives can come together, have a cup of coffee, buzz up on caffeine, and get buzzed up on the news and how crazy the left is and how bananas they absolutely are. Uh, and yeah, this is going to be the last segment. So stick around because we're going to be talking about the California credit card companies, how they're going to be tracking your firearm purchases. Today, we did talk about exposing the secret provision within the Ukraine funding bill. We also talked about climate cultist. We had David Paul Blumenshine on. We had Scott Robbins on. You can find the podcasted version of this on the YouTube. Conservative Cat or Cat Peterson 929. You can subscribe there still, and maybe I'll come out with content. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll have to see. But all the best. Thank you, Dan. It was a pleasure meeting you too. Bananas for the uniparty. Yes, there is a uniparty. We talked about that a lot today. Mittens, and then we had John Kennedy, which was kind of sad. Them all voting for this national security bill, which had nothing to do with national security and everything to do with Ukraine funding. So I'm back now. Woohoo! Good morning. Hey, this is the Morning Buzz. I so do appreciate you tuning in each and every day for the last couple of years. Yes. This is my last program here on Cities 92.9. And this has been a blast. I am so grateful for my mentors. I'm so grateful for this platform and to wake up every morning and sit down and have a conversation. I named the show The Morning Buzz. It was all about, sitting down, having a cup of coffee, and conversing about how loony the left is. Really, it's a place where like minded people can sit and have a cup of coffee. And you can still do that with Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt is going to be on from 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. And in the middle there, at about 7:19 a.m., we're going to have Tom's 10, which is this hyper local segment for 10 minutes. And you can get your fix of news that way. He's a total news hound, and um, I'm really excited for the lineup. That lineup will be posted today by 11 a.m. on our website. That's cities99.com. The final lineup. We've kind of been changing some things on the weekend as well. So everything will be in order on the website today at 11 a.m. So, like I said, I am so grateful for my many listeners, my many followers and subscribers. Um, I'm grateful to you for helping me grow. And God really led me here. You have no idea. God really led me here and led me to all of you. Uh, he really did. I was considering going a completely different direction, possibly working for NPR for the rest of my life, or, at least taking on a full time position there. And I just felt icky about it, and I was a closeted conservative. And then finally, this radio station, Cities 92.9, gave me the courage that and the comfort that there were other like-minded people out there like me, and it's not all they're not all crazy. The world isn't completely nuts. That there are people with their heads screwed on tight. So God led me here, and we did some amazing work over the years. A lot of local content, a lot of local news stories. We've really done a lot of change in my time here at Cities 92.9. And that was my goal. I wanted to change the community a little bit, and I wanted to bring a conservative voice to this platform. So I'm going to miss you all. I'm really going to miss you all. Happy Valentine's Day. And, I end the show like this all of the time. I say bye-bye. I love you. Like I said, you can text me at 309-451-9299 today if you've got any questions about the lineup. And hey, what are you going to be doing for Valentine's Day? Are you going to be taking out the wife? Are you going to grab her some candies, a flower, a night out, some jewelry? Um, hold on to your loved ones, and your friendships and your relationships, because it's a crazy world out there. And that's about all we got. And hold on tight to God. And bye-bye. I love you. You guys have a great rest of your day. And you'll hear Hugh Hewitt tomorrow morning. See you later.